What's up, everybody? It's your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. We're doing like a Freedom Sunday. We're going wow today. And I just had to share this because I saw Glenda Cameron post something earlier about D.L Hughley talking about Trump supporters would rather have a dead country. And he used the analogy in the Bible of when, there were two women and one of the woman's babies died. And the king goes, "Give me a knife. I'm going to cut this baby in half." Well, of course, the woman was like, "Yeah, good. Well, then we'll both neither have a baby." Well, the woman that, of course, was the mother was like, "No, like I would freely give my live baby to this woman that's crazy. Then you kill the baby." So, of course, the king knew this woman, loved this baby. But in a way, he was right. A lot of Trump supporters are people who feel like the country's left them behind. And it's not just white people. There's some black people. There's some other people who've also felt like this country has left them behind. And what do I mean left them behind? I mean financially. Right now, you see the trend of all these people in their 60s. They can't leave work. They still have mortgages. They didn't pay for kids to go to college, and now those kids live home. And now their parents that are elderly in their 80s have Alzheimer's and dementia, so they're paying for that. Also, you have people who are dealing with. Hold on one second, you guys. Sorry about that. Hey, you guys, sorry about that. Quick run off in the scene. So basically, you have people who are 45 to 54 being the highest number of people who are being laid off from their jobs. They don't have any retirement saved up. They're not planning well. And so a lot of people feel like, okay, we've had these foreigners be let in. We've had the black president. And so some people say, well, Erica, we got a black president. So we did do well. We did move forward. Well, here's the kicker. There are a lot of people in the country who just didn't know there were a lot of African-American middle class. It's not until some people move to Atlanta, Houston, DC, where they see all these African-Americans with MBAs, higher incomes, and there's just a whole segment of the population. So there's a book by Eugene Robinson called The Disintegration of Black America. And he talks about how you have people who are transcendent. You have people who are at the top, emergent. They're Africans. They're people from other countries. They would still be considered black, but they live a completely different life. They're owning stores. They're owning rental properties. They do not live like American blacks. They don't. And so then you have a part that is mainstream. And those are just regular middle class, which is the bulk of African Americans. And then you have a percentage that are the abandoned. These are the people who dropped out of high school. These are the moms who have 4 or 5 kids. They're on Section 8. And back in the day, in the 80s, they may have been able to go work at the factory. They may have been able to go get a job somewhere and start anew, right? And have an actual life that was livable and manageable and kind of work themselves out of poverty. But because those factory jobs are gone, it's not there anymore. Well, you have that same thing happening in the Rust Belt, happening in Ohio, happening in Pennsylvania, happening in Indiana, all these different places where people are in dire straits. They're in situations where they feel financially they're not tied into the country. The country doesn't care about them. They're the heartland. And I always get offended by that when they say they're the heartland, because we know the edges of the country serve the military at high ranks. High ranks of blacks, high ranks of Asians, high ranks of Latinos, multi-generational families serving over and over. The military isn't all of us. It's the same set of families serving over and over, and their children and their grandchildren serving. That's been proven countless times, countless surveys. Another thing in there is foreign workers. I still have people, I remember going to work at an apartment complex and in this other place, people complaining about foreign workers who lived in the complex. Well, here's the thing. Unless you have an engineering degree, you can't get that job. Unless you have software degree, and different types of levels of degrees that require those jobs, you can never get that job, Billy Bob. That was never your job. So you didn't lose any jobs. These foreign people coming in are not taking away anything. If anything, people are upset because they're coming into the system and they're buying income producing assets. What are that? Stores, hotels. Over the past, I think, 15 years, Indian Americans now own 48% of all the hotels in all of America. Now, many of you say, well, that's crazy, but you have to realize sometimes they're willing to move to really far locations. They're willing to move to remote locations. They're willing to buy really decrepit hotels and work room by room and pairing them and bringing them up just enough. I want to do that. Many people, that doesn't excite them or engage them or make them think happy thoughts about it, okay? And so the whole foreign worker thing, the whole, you know, all these minorities moving up and people blaming affirmative action when no, there's just been thousands of African Americans, thousands of Latinos just going to colleges, going through the pipeline. They're second generation MBAs. And I've told you guys this, when I was at East Carolina, majority of the people there were second generation, third generation East Carolina folks from Washington, D.C. and New York. And they would send their kids down south because it was cheaper to pay out-of-state tuition at East Carolina University than to send their kids to a college in New York and be bankrupt, basically. And in that fold, those people don't feel like that country relates to them. I remember sitting in classes with white students talking about affirmative action. I go, dude, you're poor and white from Bertie County. I come from an upper middle class family. What are you talking about? Like, we're in two different lanes. And it's not because I'm brown. And I remember my teacher one time asking me, please keep coming to class because what your comments say are changing the dynamic of the conversation in the room. And it was interesting to hear that from that teacher, right? So another thing as we go on is I talk with my friends in Austin, Texas. In Austin, Texas right now, if you have children under 13 years old, 60 to 70% of them in the school systems, ISDS, Cedar Park, all that, are minorities, period. 60 to 70%, depending on the school. They're Hispanic, they're Indian with a dot, as we would say. They are Asian, they are multi-ethnic children. Like there is no space. There's only 2 or 3 schools where majority of the children are white left in Austin. And I think a lot of people who live in Texas are much more flexible about that. They see that, they understand it, and they're enjoying tacos and all the different type of restaurants I eat at, and they don't feel a qualm about that. And I enjoy that I have friends that aren't like feeling a qualm about that, right? I enjoy that those are my friends, and they can see that future and not upset about it. But there's people in America who are upset about that, who go, there's no good schools. I mean, if everybody knows anything about Marietta, Georgia, they had 900 tech companies move there. Now, when the companies moved there, what did they do? They brought all these foreign workers, and the school was majority Asian, majority Indian, and majority of the people in the town picked up and left the town. They were like, we're moving further down the street, further into the country, because this high school isn't representative of America. But it is. That high school in that moment was representative of America and where it was going. It was going brown. It was going Asian. It was going Indian with a dot. And so these are just places where I had to point this out because I thought about this, and we have a lot of people coasting. The whole United States as of right now, if you have a child under 9 years old, 1 in 4 Hispanic. So there's a reason you look at the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, like, we have to reach out and reinforce what the American dream is. If you come here, if you work hard, if you invest your money, and people are forgetting that part, not save your money, invest your money, you can have a better outcome. Many people are saying, well, I've got child support and these things are hitting me. Well, honey, at some point you have to figure out making $25,000 a year is not going to cut it for you. You have to make 50, 60, 70, 80,000, 100,000. I mean, I think Grant Cardone talks about being a millionaire is not, you know, a millionaire is middle class. If you have 1 or 2 million, you're middle class. And if you live in New York, that's very true. If you live in Connecticut, all different places, right? That's very true. I would say even now, as I speak with people, there's a book called How to Get Rich, and it's the guy died, but he was a magazine owner, and he literally called $1 to $5 million comfortably poor. That's what he called it, comfortably poor. And so I don't know if people realize, like, one bad swoop of health, let's say your kids go to a very expensive college, let's say your parents have Alzheimer's and you got $1 million, you're right on the edge of like making it, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Okay. Because those things are very costly. So the thing I want to talk about is a lot of people are moving to Texas and Atlanta, and there's a video on my channel. I made it almost 2 years ago, haven't even thought about it, and it is booming. It's got like 20,000 views, 25,000 views, and it's talking about blacks are moving to Atlanta and Texas. Well, they are. But what people don't realize is if you move and you have no skills, a lot of these people are getting down there and complaining, well, they only want to pay me $10 an hour. Well, that's your true wage. You live in New York, so that office has to pay you $25 an hour to get a decent person. But you coming down south, they don't need that. They can go get a kid out fresh out of high school or fresh out of college for what your job you're doing. And when people see that, they should embrace it and go, I need to get a better, higher paying job or higher paying skills. But a lot of times people will go, they're not paying enough down here, down south, so I'm going to leave. And I laugh because I go, but that's your true wage. That's your true skill level. You don't have a skill people want to pay for. Now, people say, well, Erica, what about teachers? What about people who are in jobs they can never get a higher wage? Give you a prime example. You guys, I've been talking about this book over and over, and I'm going to put it up again. Millionaire by 30. Now, there's something I want you to pull out of this book, and it talks about how if you're a teacher or you're somebody who your ticket was your home, every 2 to 3 years, if you refinance your home, pull the equity out, what would you do with that money? Now, some people during the last recession paid off credit card debt, paid off car debt. I would challenge you, like this book does, to buy rental properties. And every time in the book, as you see, they buy, every 2 years, they pull money out, they buy a rental property. I actually know a couple like that in Austin. They pull the money out, buy a rental property. I think they're on their 6th rental property. Their kids are like 13. They've been doing that for years. They're both teachers. They don't make a lot of money being teachers, but they love being teachers. Now, you can love being a teacher even more when you have an additional $6,000 coming in a month. That's just rental income. And I'm going to do probably a PDF or a small ebook about how I went to a conference and just learned, like, this is how we're going to ladder this. And I think people really get bothered by that. So we talk about moving won't cure it, right? If you don't have the skills, if you move it, it won't cure it now. But if you stay behind, I want to give an example of the quilt lady that you guys probably see all over YouTube in ads. She, you know, her sons, it was during the last recession, her sons and daughters were like, Mom, let's make you a YouTube channel about quilting. Her at the time thought, that's just hilarious. What, you know, who'd watch this? I don't understand what YouTube is. And now we're talking about almost 8, 9 years later. Not only in that town do they have 10 stores, they're the largest fabric manufacturer in America at this point. They have 2 hotels and a restaurant. Now, if you see that town, they are the town. They are old money. If you're in any old town or southern town in America right now, you know there are about 5 to 10 families who are the families in town. And what do I mean by the families in town? They own ridiculous amounts of property. They purchased when times were good and times were bad. They purchased downtown buildings when they were empty. They purchased farmland that nobody wanted. They kept purchasing. Why? Because they knew in the future, if nothing else, they could turn around and rent a lot of these properties out, even at low cost. So now in the town, 20 years later, they are the family that owns everything. The family that owns a lot of stuff. A lot of times if you look at tax records, their name's on a lot of it, you know, for properties. And that comes from just knowing sometimes you can't always move. Sometimes you can't always move away. You can't always move to Texas. You can't move to Atlanta. Sometimes you have to make a stand where you are and you have to invest. You have to invest consistently. And it's not about just you. It's about your kids. There's a article here in Raleigh where a young lady, taught, she's my friend, and I'm trying not to use her name, but she taught at the really poor school on this one side of town in Raleigh, like 10 years ago. And the kid now, who is literally would be considered a genius if he was a little white boy and had access to classes and funds and all this good stuff, he robbed a place and he's going to get 20 years. But if he would have had more guidance, more activities and things to keep him busy, we would not be here. Now you're going to say, Erica, some kids turn out bad no matter what you do. But I will guarantee you 9 times out of 10, when you see poor kids do not have access to after school activities, tutoring, 4th and 5th grade are critical points in tutoring for children. They base opening prisons off the reading levels of Black and Latino children in 4th and 5th grade. And so that tells you the trajectory of a school system and a trajectory of a child's future, the reading levels. And so she even said, she's like, I remember this kid. He was brighter than everybody in class. He should have been marked as gifted. And he just didn't have access. He had limited income, single mom story. That shit drives me crazy because people have these children and then go, well, Erica, I'm working every day and night to feed these kids. Well, you got to give them more than just feed them, baby. It just is what it is, right? So again, assets. I'm in a lot of credit repair groups. I'm in a lot of groups where people are finally waking up. They're in their mid-30s, realizing they need credit, realizing, oh man, all these years I've been not doing right by my credit. And so it's trashed. And I tell you, I've told you guys this in my other videos about my Asian mom's friend who she put her daughter as an authorized user on a $100,000 American Express card. we were in college, $20,000 and $30,000 credit cards just came in the door for her. It wasn't even like, they just came in the door, right? And then I have a few Korean friends who are still in our hometown. They've owned a business since they were 18. Now, what has their business been? Some of them have had like a little spot, or they worked the family cleaner, or they've had a spot where they just sold things on Amazon, eBay. And it wasn't a stress or worry because they didn't have to do a lot. And I know you guys don't believe this, but there are a lot of Americans living like that, where they have 1 or 2 rental properties and they live off that income. I've had clients they have clients who come in and they go, what do you do? Well, I've got 2, rental properties in Atlanta, and I don't have any bills. I've paid off car. My house is very low mortgage. So I just live off that money. And that's a very common story. People don't realize I meet many military people who they buy 1 to 3 houses in the courses of their military career and rent them all out, never sell, but rent them out. By the time they get to retirement, plus the 2 to 3 grand they're getting every single month from the government for the rest of their life, they don't have to work. They don't have to. They choose to, but they don't have to. And so assets is the future and the projection of this country. If you're feeling left behind in this country, if you feel downtrodden, there is degrees of investment that will change that. I just finished helping getting clients get $64,000 on a credit card, and we were using that money for a down payment on a house. And I remember people in credit repair groups going, what do you do with $64,000 on a credit card, Erica? That's too much money. Like, that's a trap. And you're like, no, that's a trap for someone who doesn't have a mindset towards the future. That's a trap for someone who isn't thinking of how to make investments, for sure. It's a trap for them. But for other people, countless Americans, that's been their way to buy rental properties and invest in other things. Raw land, gold, silver, guns, their business, their online business, their personal physical business. There's a lot of times where I tell people, if you got 1 credit card with 20 grand on it and you can hire 2 or 3 guys, your construction company and painting company can be making 100,000 in that first year, almost in that first year, because it is having the cash to be able to pay the people to go knock the doors, to go do the work, to be able to afford the paint up front, afford the cost of stuff up front, then be working with clients. Sometimes clients don't pay, they pay late, to have just a little bit to shuffle. And that really comes out of having clean credit. That is where that comes from. And I think many people get upset when I talk about that, but that's where it comes from. So you got to have an economic plan. And I see your, I see some comments, and I'm gonna get on them. Thomas Jackson, what are your thoughts on whole life insurance? So Thomas, that's part of the video I'll probably do later this week, but I'll just give you guys, oh man, I don't even know if I can show you it makes sense. I can't really, it's going to be faded, but grab this book. We talked about this the other day, a couple days ago, Millionaire by 30. And even if you just get the book, and you might be able to find it Barnes & Noble still, I don't know, but you could get it really cheaply off Amazon. I'm trying to see if I can get to the diagram. This diagram right here talks about 16 different things you should be investing in. Right. And of course, in the book, it tells you about what? Maximum and funded insurance. Now, let me give you just a story from one of my friends. Now, the guy in the book is him and his 2 sons, and it's very good. He has a daughter, but nonetheless, one of my friend's parents helped them pay the $900 a month for the past 10 years. Now we're all, almost 10 years out of college. Now for the rest of her life, she can draw from it. And my friend, who it's her brother, they're brother and sisters, he can draw from his a certain amount from it. Now, a lot of people, it's a book called Bank on Yourself. You can read that. It's the thing a lot of middle class people do. Instead of credit cards, they use their own insurance money. It's important. Just like I talked about from the book, Millionaire by 30, people refinancing their house every couple of years and taking that money and actually putting it into something. But that requires ownership, right? And so a lot of people don't have the patience to, 1, go buy a home, 2, in 2-3 years, go, all right, I can refinance this. And my credit be clean enough to refinance this, and then take that money and invest in a $50,000 or $80,000 rental property that's going to bring them an additional $800 to $1,000 in a month. Why? Why don't people have that patience? Because a lot of times people want to be in this flip mode. I'm going to get me $5 grand and be flipping all my money. Honey, $5 grand is not flip money. Now, is it a little bit better, comfortable living money? Sure. Could you pay up your rent? Could you pay off your car? Could you have money for a down payment on a house? Sure. $5 grand. But this whole mindset of extreme flipping is just that. It's a microwave mentality. Whole life insurance, I have it myself. You know, I'm not even in front of you guys. I have $1 million policy for myself. But the key about it is you gotta have a strategy. You have to have a strategy. You know, it's $42 a month. Northwest Mutual, $42 a month, people. It's not breaking me, and that's why I have that going. But that's a big thing. That's a big thing people don't realize about insurance. But in the book, I talk about, and then in the PDF, I'll try to put it together. Here's my top 9, my personal top 9 after going to conferences, after reading this book, after just personal experience. 1, business advertising. How can I advertise my business to keep income coming into my business, right? 2, raw land. Last time there was a little slight flood here in Fayetteville. Some people were cash strapped, and so they were selling acres of land that weren't even near the floodwaters for 10 grand. So, and people say, well, that's all. Yeah, they were selling for 10 grand. But you can find corner lots for cheaper. You can find quarter lots on the tax liens. We've talked about this. If you guys have the tax lien course that's on my website, you can buy just lots. If you just want to buy raw land, you can just buy raw land. Okay, so stocks, monthly dividend stock. Like I told you guys, I bought Whitestone REIT. They're in Houston, Texas. They're $12.25 on average. I'm just on average. Sometimes they're more, sometimes they're less. And their dividend is like 8.89%. So basically, you're getting $1.07 every time you buy a share over the course of a year. So maybe what, 8 cents, 9 cents a month. I talked about how if you buy, 10 shares gives you $1 a month, right? Coming back to you. If you buy 100 shares, you got $10 a month coming back to you. If you end up buying 300 shares, you got $28 coming back to you. Now, many people say, well, Erica, I don't have $3,000. I don't have $1,200, but you got $12. You got $25. You got $50. And this is just one stock. You could go on dividend.com and do your research and pick one that you like better. But just an example of something that I will put $25 every couple of days to is buying more Whitestone stock. And there's some other ones on my list, but I try to not recommend stocks for y'all. I want y'all to research yourself, because if I just tell you one and you all go buy the same thing, that's how people make Ponzi schemes. And I think that's pumping up schemes. So let's not do that. But I just buy, every time I get an extra couple $25, I buy more of that shares. And so on my phone, I have the Robinhood app. And this is one of my 2 phones, but on my Robinhood app, and it'll keep binging me. Oh, you got dividends. Oh, you got dividends. Oh, you got dividends. And I like that. I like that I have it on my phone. Now, E-Trade, I put bigger amounts. Like when I get my tax refund, I put it there and do investments from there, just because those shares cost commission, $10.99 or $9.99 every time I buy a pack of stocks there. It's easier for me on Robinhood app because it's absolutely free to buy and use the Robinhood app. So that's just my 2 cents on that. Again, keep going on my list. Number 4, if you're writing this down, 4, I'll just say it again. Number 1, business advertising. Number 2, raw land. Number 3, stocks, monthly stock. Number 4, bank certificates. So some of the banks I bank at, you can do a certificate for $5. You guys know my story when I was delivering pizzas, and I was just hustling, working all these jobs. People were like, what are you doing? Well, I was putting $5 and $10 a day away for the future. So some of those would come out 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. And I would do it. So it would only cost me $150. If I did $5 a day for the whole month of August, it was $150. It didn't hurt me. It was like a Friday night of delivering pizzas. But I've known people who've actually took lump sum money from their Amazon business, one guy, and he spreads it out so that he gives himself $1,000 a month, first of the month, right? Of every month in the future. He just does it in the future. So no matter what's happening in the future, he knows $1,000 is coming back to him. So I call those 4 savings. Number 5, real estate. Again, if you guys know Lisa Phillips or any of the people, remember Lisa Phillips got really bashed all the time about talking about $30,000 real estate properties. Now that's the hot thing. People love gentrifying a neighborhood now. So now everybody wants to go find the $40,000, $50,000 properties because property is very expensive now. $40,000 to $50,000 property, your down payment plus closing costs, even at 20% down as an investor, is going to be 10 grand. I know people with $30,000 credit cards, they could get 10 grand off that. There's ways to do it that doesn't cost that much. They could get a $10,000, anything under $25,000, $15,000 to $25,000, depending on the bank, and you get a business line of credit. You don't even need to send your personal financial statement. Just saying, there's ways to get about it. So again, as I always talk on the channel, if you buy one of those little $50,000 houses that's rented out for $850 a month, one a year, in 10 years, when you get first of the month and you get $8,500 lump sum payment from your property mortgage, your property management company, how different is your life compared to your other friends who are 10 years from now still working at that same job they don't like, or still a teacher, or still a nurse? Your situation is completely financially different. I told you guys about Amanda Young on the channel who has 6 rental properties in Tampa. Now she's finally doing a flip. See, people want to start out flipping, and I go, that's not where the money is. The money isn't with the buy and hold. It's building your equity up, having things to draw from, money coming in monthly. So anyway, number 6 is silver. So silver, I do this for my nephew. I give my youngest nephew like a little silver piece, a little bar, and it'll be like 20 bucks. Silver's going about 18 to 20 bucks right now. And I just get it from silver.com. If you guys are in the courses, you've seen me talk about it, silver.com. And you know what? Put out $200 of that away a month. I just go, give me some silver bars. So just little thin silver bars, stack up. Gold, I don't buy gold often. It's very expensive. I do it maybe once a year. And I keep it locked up in my mama's safe or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't even buy, and it's a very thin, like when I talk about an ounce is like thin. Quarters in your pocket will be heavier than some of the stuff I'm talking about. Guns. Now I put guns on this list because I have a lot of friends who have like 11 guns. Now, why are people upset about that? This person's not running around shooting up stores. He's not crazy. He just knows that if something happens, he could sell those guns and get good money for them. So he has about 11 guns at his house. He has shotguns. He has rifles. He has, oh God, he has a Ruger. He has a, oh my God, he has a Glock. He has a ton of stuff. Like, I mean, I could put a picture up, but he'd probably kick my butt. And he could sell those any given time. Now, I really do believe in the next recession that's coming at the end of this year or next year. It's going to be rough. And there are going to be a lot of people breaking into homes. Why? Because they don't want to get a job, or they have a record, and things are going to happen. And I think a lot more people are going to need home security. That's why I think the Ring doorbell is rising, because what people don't realize is most break-ins happen during the day. Because if you have 2 parents working and just kids come home about 3, a crook has about 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. to rob a house. And that's when they do it. Because they know if you're home at night, you're going to fight. And you're going to kick their butt. Okay. Another one, the last one on my list, number 9, maximum funded insurance. As Thomas Jackson asked. Yes, maximum funded insurance is my number 9. Number 10 is just open to opportunity. So that's my 1 through 10. And I'll say it again, business advertising. If you guys watch Alex Becker, you know, if you put 100 a day to YouTube or 100 a day to Facebook ads or whatever your advertising is, whatever it is for you. Number 2, raw land. Number 3, stocks. I only focus on monthly dividend stocks. I did penny stocks in college, lost money, and said, you know what? I'll forever be in monthly dividend stocks. Number 4, bank certificates. Number 5, real estate. Number 6, silver. Number 7, gold. Number 8, guns. Number 9, maximum funded insurance. And number 10 is just be open for opportunities, because you know there's opportunity for me to buy a website and an Instagram site, and I didn't have to do crap to it. They still wanted to be work under the company, just me buy it for a moment. And I was like, wow, that for $3 grand, I could do that. I'd be open to the opportunity. So you have to be open to opportunities. All right, so I'm going to read some of this. Franklin Minded 1. Yes, a lot of blacks get caught up in the hype of Atlanta and Texas instead of doing economic research before moving. Well, here's the thing, Franklin. If you live in, I lived in Enderule, I'm saying it terribly, but near Fort Meade, Maryland, because my mom had a brain aneurysm out of the military. She's completely fine. She's absolutely like 100%. She's lucky one. Got there before it burst, almost at Bethesda area. And the cost of living for a 2-bedroom was like $2 grand. You know, it was ridiculous. In that same townhouse, that same style, the same square footage was $55,000 in Raleigh. The same style, even better amenities was probably $1,200 in Raleigh. Now, you may say, well, but they pay me more. 9 times out of 10, if you work in some terrible entry-level paper-pushing job, like you're not in a winning spot. You're like scraping by to pay for a $2,000 apartment in Bethesda, Maryland. Like that to me is not winning. So that is why a lot of people are moving. Also, moving is good for, I think, people. Every time I've moved, and I've moved a lot. You guys know me on this channel. I moved to Birmingham, Alabama for a little bit, Hoover with the Red Cross and my mom. I moved to Bethesda, Maryland for 6 months. I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina. I ended up moving down to Texas. I thought about moving to Denver, but I didn't do it. I just got a really good group of friends this last time in Texas. And so what ended up happening is every time I move, I would meet people in jobs. in connections and things I've never even heard of. I mean, I meet people doing a job and they'd be like, you should do this job, girl. And I'd be like, I can do that job, you know? And I would just learn so much each and every move, right? And I think a lot of times if you tell people, well, they just need to do their research. Well, if your skill level only pays $15 an hour once you get down to Texas, yeah, it's gonna be tight, but you have the opportunity now in a lower cost house, which I remember this lady buying a house, it's her first house ever. She's from New York, and it was $150,000, and it's in Pflugerville. And she was so blown away by being able to buy this house that like 5 of her family members came and moved down and moved into the rooms of the house and started working. Now, a lot of them ended up going to school. One went to community college, one ended up doing something else. I can't remember all the details. She was a super nice lady. I kept up with her for like maybe 2 years. But it was the change they needed in that family. Like they all had never had cars before. She had to learn how to drive when she moved down here. I mean, it's a lifestyle change. Living in New York or New Jersey or Maryland or some of these spots for your whole life and never moving, and never really financially getting ahead, that's a tough situation. Now, if you're like some of my friends when I first left college who made $90,000 in Virginia, driving in that terrible traffic to a government job, most of them, this is what they did. They worked for 2 years and they were like, Erica, this sucks. I miss North Carolina. I miss our college friends, and moved down to Raleigh. And they were able to afford a bigger house because they had this salary from up north, Virginia, one state over, and just moved into a job that was a little bit more comfortable, a little less stress, and their drive was less. So, I mean, it's just choices. Moving just provides you choices. And that's my biggest thing, Franklin. And mine one is moving and finding different jobs and different people provides you choices. Because there's some people living in a small town where they're the loser in their town kind of deal. And if they move to a new town, nobody knows them and they have a new mindset. So that's all. All right. Shima E. Can you usually release credit cards as a down payment on a home? Yes, she may. Feel free to Google my friend Juan Pablo, 100% Finance. There are 7 different ways money can come off credit cards, and people have been doing this for years. You can even go to biggerpocketsforum.com. I remember a guy on there talking about he bought his first 10 houses with a credit card. So I'm not going to give you step by step. I'm just going to say CYA, consult your attorney, consult your accountant. I don't want to give you information that you may use and you're not properly ready to use it. So Google those guys. They talk about it all the time on their channels. They actually even have a PDF they could send you of how they do it. I think he has like 21 credit cards with $220,000 on. There's one guy on Bigger Pockets who has 40 credit cards with like almost $1 million in lines on it. So he finds a way to use it. There's different ways to do things. I would prefer you get business lines of credit at some point instead of just relying on credit cards. It'd be easier. Thomas Jackson, do you yourself specialize in credit repair? I recently found out my FICO score is very poor, 428. I do, Thomas. It is on my website. The links are always below. At the going rate right now is 225 for 3 cycles. The key here is what's on there, right? We always tell people, some people may just, I literally have clients who they paid off their car. They don't have any credit cards. They may have some collections on there, and that's why it slipped. They don't have anything positive working in their favor. So, sometimes they need 3 lines or sometimes they need an AU line. They need, 1 or 2 cards in AU. AU is authorized user card, which you can get different trade lines from different places. But that's the key. I mean, credit is a very big, important thing. I will say to you, honestly, when I worked in the apartment industry, I did not realize how many people paid their rent with their credit card. I'm telling you right now, there are several people who come in the office, almost 100 out of the 500 unit apartment complex, and they paid with a credit card. I remember when they changed in Austin, some of the apartments made you pay from your bank. Like you had to pay from your bank account. You could only wire it, give us a check, or give us a cashier check. There were defaults all over the city. Straight up. There are some people who have $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 credit cards, and that has been the difference of them being a real estate agent and finally getting some house sales, or them working delivering pizzas. And I personally know people who, if it wasn't for the $30,000 credit card they had, they wouldn't have sold 10 houses at the end of the year and could wait on the commissions to come. Because when you get a real estate agent, you don't get your commissions like 30 days. Sometimes you get them 90 days. Sometimes you get them late. Okay. Alvin Hollinger, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Mr. Alvin. Renard Jean, I apologize. Erica, should I pay off my student loan before I buy my first rental property? No. Sorry. I mean, I always tell people Dave Ramsey before Robert Kiyosaki, but imagine if you had, and I don't know your situation. Let's say you come up in a lump sum of money and you're like, hey, my student loans are $10,000, but I can also buy this rental for $10,000. Well, you could buy the rental for $10,000, and every month, whatever income comes off that rental, you just use it to pay down your student loans. So you didn't lose anything. Do you know what I'm saying? You didn't lose any money. You gained money, right? And then 75% of that income is going to count towards your next purchase anyway that you get off the rental. So, I mean, you didn't lose any money. You gained money, and now you're in a better position to buy even more rentals. I think what's funny is a lot of people say, oh my God, I've got $20,000 in debt. It's killing me. Well, I know people who have $1 million in debts, from student loans to cars to all kind of stuff. And so when I see all these different credit reports and people are like, I got 10 grand, Erica, it's killing me. And I'm like, baby, I know people with $1 million. Each situation is different. Each person's stress level is different. But if you have a plan for your future and your credit, it will not be as scary. So JR Devar, would you consider investing in Bitcoin? No. Sorry, I know everybody is on the craze, but there's a rule of thumb: when everybody's running towards something, you should run away. Even when I talk about people flipping houses, I look, I know people who flip 500 houses, and his name is, oh gosh, if I can find his name on here. I went to a seminar and he was there talking, and I thought, why are you talking at seminars? Why are you writing these books? Because he needs long-term cash flow. A lot of times people do these flips and they're like, man, I got 50 grand. Okay, what are you gonna do with the 50 grand? Well, I'm gonna live off it, or I'm gonna flip again. It's a long-term flipping and flipping and flipping and flipping, and and that's how I look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's one of those things like, you could do that. It's just not my style. It's just not my favor. I just find that I meet a lot of people investing in Bitcoin and they don't have life insurance. Investing in Bitcoin and they don't have a bank account. They just have a PayPal account. Investing in Bitcoin and they don't even have stuff organized. So I'm just like, when everybody's doing that, go the other way. Thomas Jackson, I was told that I was put down as a co-signer on a credit card I know nothing about, 700 owed. Then you dispute that. You might have to go down to the courthouse, and I mean, you might have to actually go make a credit report of fraud. So, I mean, you can, that's actual legitimate. Like, you just do that yourself. But doesn't mean it'll get rid of the history right away. It might take a minute. But what you do is you go file a peace report, say fraud happened to your account, and then you go ahead and let the credit bureaus know that there was fraud on your account. JR Devar, great advice, thanks. Aaron Johnson, Erica, hello Erica, tax lien course is going great. Should I set up a consultation before or after I finish the course? It's up to you, Aaron. It depends on your game plan. Thanks for buying the course. I appreciate it. I love seeing you guys' names when I review the weekly list of purchases. It's up to you guys, because the key here is getting started. Like, getting started is, I have people who I've watched this channel for 3 years call me and go, I'm finally ready to get started. I've had clients who I've worked with for 6 and 7 months. Finally, we get the first breakthrough. I have clients I worked with for 30 days, and they went and did every step I told them, and they went and applied to all the banks I asked them to apply to, and they got their business lines of credit, and now they're investing. And I've got several who are on their 3rd and 4th rental properties. And it's just a system. It's just a system you're following. And sometimes it can be very scary. It can be very scary to give up $400 or $1,000 or just start taking some of your own personal money and investing. It's scary. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to be straight up honest with you guys. There were times when I was working and delivering pizzas and Papa John's. I was like, man, I could take this money and go treat myself. And I'm just becoming to get into a season of more restfulness. You guys know I had surgery, but I feel so well rested. Like, I've slept like a bunch every single day and still have sales in my company. So, I mean, you have to set up a life that works for you, and it's called lifestyle design for a reason. And for me, flipping is so heavy, time heavy. Oh my God, you have to manage guys. Trust me, a lot of blue collar guys, they come and go when they want to, do stuff when they want to. And that's why I like buy and hold. I'm looking for a property either here in my hometown of Fayetteville or Greensboro, North Carolina. That's about $40,000. So I can use some of the money I've made off my company and put it there. And it just is. It's like, you know, just like Bitcoin and other things, like, it's an investment, time investment. Having an online business is time investment, but you have to decide, like, this is how this is going to look. And you guys know I've been on the kick about getting journals on this channel, getting calendars and getting journals. And you tell your life where it's going in 5 years. And I tell you, try this. Go to work and ask any people, what are you going to do in 5 years? People will have no idea what they're doing in 5 years. Like, they just have no idea. Or people who say, I want to retire in 5 years. Well, what kind of money you got to retire? You put money away? No, I didn't even start putting money away. I mean, there's stuff like that really going on. It's really crazy. Alvin Hollinger, Bitcoin is highly speculative at this point. You cannot control the gains or losses. games, I think he means gains or losses, they are fun to play with though. LOL. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember when I first did penny stocks, I was like, ooh. And then I lost $4,000 in college. And so I was like, that's enough of that. So you have to be smart about it. You know what I mean? Like there are things that interest me just for the fact of it sounds fun. Like finishing my plane flying lessons. It's not because I'm gonna be a pilot and fly for Delta. It's just because it's fun. And I realized that 1% of all the millionaires in all of America, they fly their own private planes. Now I ain't gonna be Grant Cardone, buy my own plane. No, not that level, but like a smaller level. We're just enjoy it. And if I have a future spouse and kids, we can fly down the street somewhere. You know what I mean? So Bernard Jean, thanks, Erica. Thank you guys for commenting. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. Again, this is just a fun Sunday where if you do not have an economic plan, you may feel like a Trump supporter. You may feel like a person who this country's leaving you behind and you're not making enough money and they don't value you. And a lot of times I know people when they go to work, they get mad because they feel like they're not being underpaid. Well, you got to invest the money you do get. It's not about the money you make, it's about money you keep. Sorry, that was really delicious. Anyway. So that was my Sunday. That's my Sunday fun day, you guys. That's my Sunday Freedom Sunday. Thank you for all your well wishes and your comments. Thank you for all the stuff you guys have been saying. It's been awesome. Again, you always know the links are below. I'm going to try really hard this week to crank out these ebooks. I might have to make it like an assistant finish this ebook. Like I put all the stuff in there and then I had surgery and I mean, this surgery, I told you guys, it was supposed to be 1 hour and ended up being 4.5 hours. And I was like, this far from having to get 2 bags of blood. And I was like, please, no, not the blood. So it's just changed a lot of the timelines on some of the stuff projects we've been finishing right now. Jerry, what's a good cap rate for multifamily? I was thinking at least 6%. Well, so we're talking about North of being really honest. I can be in a situation go bigger pockets. I'm a big person in what is the cash flow? You should never buy anything that does not cash flow, period. Ever, ever, ever. I don't care what appreciation they claim is going to have. If you see like a prime example in Austin right now, there was like a 15-unit building and it's crappy. It looks like an old used hotel, 1 bedrooms with a kitchen. And it was going for like $700,000. This guy comes in, buys it, paints it, upgrades some of the bathrooms, some of the kitchens, and some of the units, and now it's for sale for our 1.4 mil. I mean, to me, that's like, that's not really accurate, right? So you have to kind of do your due diligence. And when it comes to multifamily, my simple rule of thumb is if it's a 4-plex and it's 185, which they don't even have those right now in San Antonio anymore, and each tenant's paying $700, that's a good deal. Now, if you say that same duplex is 250, 280, 325, it's no longer a good deal. It's just not. Just the numbers aren't there. It doesn't support it. And you can get those calculators from bigger pockets. You can get those calculators from just about anywhere. Thomas Jackson, thank you. Alhar, you build capital for long-term passive gain, invest. It's not designed to be long-term strategy. I tell you who think they will do that. I even have a friend, I've talked about him on the channel here. He has $700,000 from flipping. Now he's been flipping, but he's stuck in the cycle of flipping because what if he takes $300,000 of it and puts it in an apartment complex? Well, then he can no longer flip 3 houses at a time. He won't have the cash. And he's not a fan of banks and credit cards. He's just not a fan. Like he's actually very, like that. Like he'd rather have private lenders or people put money into the company. So it all depends on the person. He's got $700,000 and you think, dude, go buy an apartment complex. Go buy a 12-unit or 24-unit or a 40-unit. He would love to, but if he uses any of the money, then it slows down his flipping business. And that's just how that happens because Austin's a very expensive market. And so when I talk about him flipping in Austin and having $700,000 is not a lot of money because you have properties that are going for $360 in Austin, right? Now his goal is to get it for maybe $200, $250, put about 50 in it. Maybe less, put like 30 in it, and then sell it for $360, $400, $499. Like that's what's kind of the market right now in Austin. Austin's very expensive. You go to the edges of like Butte, Cal, all the edges of Austin and in Dallas to do better. Now there's parts of Dallas a duplex for 150, clean it up a little bit, sell it for 199, 220,000, because there's still going to be more people who are going to buy a duplex. You know, so there's different things about flipping that I just don't like. I just think you get caught in a cycle. And 9 times out of 10, instead of trying to do what people are trying to do, is they're trying to hit home runs. Hey, Andre, I would invite Andre on. I don't know if he's feeling up to it. Andre, let me know if you feel up to it. But the thing is, when people try to get in these cycles of flipping, there's just no long term. It's very work intensive. I think you guys watch these HGTV channels and think that people get in and out and the contractors come on time and nobody wastes your time and you don't have to run up and downtown for permits and run back and forth to Home Depot for crap that's missing, or your guys accidentally forgot to turn off the water, so now the kitchen is flooded, you know. I mean, it's for real. I mean, it's a for real thing, dude. Like you have to really, really, really be on top of this. And so I'm gonna bring Andre in for a little bit, and then we're gonna close it out on this Sunday because Andre's fun times. And Andre, we're definitely talking about send it over to him in a little bit. Hold on a second, I'm trying to send it over to him on Facebook right now. There is this Sunday, we're basically talking about a lot of the Trump supporters, and people feel like this country's left them behind, but really it's not. The whole financial coasting is over. Like, you just can't coast anymore. Like, you really have to be about investing. Like, you really have to have numbers support your lifestyle. And there's so many clients I have who, what's happened is their wife has had a baby, and like he makes 100,000, she makes 80,000. But if she goes sit down and don't go back to work, like that hurts. I don't know what you guys income are in the comments, and you know, it doesn't matter. But if your spouse had to sit down and couldn't work anymore for like a year or 2 years, could you guys make it? And so that's when people really put the gasoline on the fire and start trying to invest. And that's where that comes from. That's where I'm always talking about, you know, what's the game plan here? You just can't coast. And a lot of people move to Atlanta and Texas and they go, they don't pay enough. You just ain't got the skills. That's, you know, a doctor makes doctor pay if he lives in North Carolina or Georgia or Texas. A engineer still makes engineer money whether they move to North Carolina, Georgia, or Texas. A quality software developer, even a mechanical engineer, you know, 4 years experience makes 85,000. Uh-oh, we're about to have a party. Andre C. Hatchett is about to be live. Hit that, you're on mute, Dre.
Mute. So
I see Alvin Halger says, flipping houses is like trading stocks. It's just a longer turnaround cycle. It is, I would agree on that, but here's the thing, Alvin. If you're in a position financially where you got 10 grand in your bank and you can invest in a house, and then maybe in a month or two invest more. I mean, let's be honest. Some people, depending on your credit right now, you could walk away with $150,000 in business loans.
Okay.
Just truth. Just truth.
Okay.
You know, people hate doing a personal guarantee, but there's a lot of people I know who've made their futures off personal guarantees. So what's up, Dre? Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Long-time viewer, first-time caller.
Great, man. Listen, it's a Freedom Sunday, Dre. It's a Freedom Sunday.
Ooh, my favorite day of the week.
I apologize to the audience because I did a Freedom Friday, but I didn't even know it was Friday, y'all. I've been so in recovery mode. Like, I didn't even realize it was Friday. So any questions you guys have on the thing, and I'm going to update Dre on what I just talked about, but like Dre, I told him, you got to have an economic plan. Like, the coasting is not for anybody. Black, white, Latino, Asian, nobody. Like, you can't coast in America. It's own or be owned.
Oh, no. Oh, okay, good one. No. You can't coast because are strengthening. There are computers now, and people just don't care like they used to care. So I haven't been in the coast frame of mind, I don't know, ever. So I wonder what someone who's in that frame of mind, and this isn't a cheap shot, but what got you there? What got you to the, I'm just gonna live and allow life to dictate where things are going? What got you there? Because we did a workshop for Black United about 3 needed businesses 2 weeks ago. I did it. And 2 weeks ago, we talked about setting up an email marketing business, a personal assistant business, building landing pages, all these needed things. And I was also talking about passion. I said, get that passion crap out of here. We can oftentimes get our passion on the back end. We can oftentimes get our passion on the back end. Once we have something that we built and complete, what it brings about is a lot of personal fulfillment. And if you have the money to go on a vacation with your woman, personal fulfillment, passion on the beach. If you have the money to tell your husband, hey man, look, you quit your job, my side business is taking off here, you run this and we'll do this together, personal fulfillment, pride in the household. So I want to know where the mindset comes from and where is everybody at today with their mindset? Where are you? Hey, if it's our first time meeting, hello, how are you? But where are you and what got you there and how can we shake your ass out of there?
So Dre's asking you guys, well, how did you get to the current lifestyle you're at right now? And how could you get to the next level? There's a couple quotes on here. Alvin Hodger said, a bad financial setup is allowing your life expenses to cover or get close to covering both your incomes, right? So that happens to a lot of people where the husband and wife have just kind of been eating out, partying, just letting the lifestyle creep up on them instead of telling your money where to go. I was in a group today, Dre, and this woman said she bought a house and it saved her $400 on her monthly, rent. Her mortgage is $400 less, but then she spent all her money last month eating out. So I was like, babe, that's bad. Like, you're already setting up a bad precedent. You got a brand new house and you're automatically, if someone told me I just saved $400, Dre, what am I doing with that $400?
You're going to put it towards the principal or put it towards your business.
Exactly. That's. I mean, if I had $400, someone told me I had an extra $400 in my account, I'd probably pay off my car. I think she probably has a car. I can't remember the whole rest of the story, but I remember being in the group and going, so like, hey, baby, you need to get a Digit app, or you need to get the Acorns app. So every time you swipe your debit card, it puts the extra change away for you. You need to create discipline. That's just a discipline issue, right?
And that's what most people need, but they don't realize they need it, or they don't want to accept the fact that they need it. Is a hardcore, I'm going to challenge myself and discipline myself meter. Let's just say that she puts that extra $400 a month towards the principal. That's 4, 8, 12, 16, 2, 4, almost $8,000, $5,000 a year to go towards the principal if she just did that automatically, right? So if she went into her mortgage bank online or went to the bank or called them and said, hey, I want to put an extra $400 towards the principal directly, another extra $5,000 a year, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, $25,000 in 5 years can go towards the principal. On top of what she's already paying, she might have no mortgage in 10 years.
Exactly.
It comes to how you want it, Erica. Fun later or fun now, or a little bit of both. Let's say she puts $200 down and she puts the other money on happy hour. She puts the rest of money on happy hour. You're still getting ahead. How bad do you want it? I want to hear it. Type it in.
Okay. So I have Aaron Johnson said, no financial education and just believing I'm supposed to work until I receive my 401k. A lot of people have been told that, Aaron.
Yeah, they've been lying. But what about like the years before there? So like there are a lot of years. How old are you, AJ? There are a lot of years before we can get to 55 on a low end, 65, 70. So if you're 25, 20, 30, 35 now, it's like, damn, we're just accepting. We're just accepting that we have to do this. And I'm a big believer in no, you don't have to do this. You don't have to wait for these other people. You can dictate this. Just are you going to put in what it takes to dictate it, to change the trajectory of your life? What are you going to do to get there? I can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. So Aaron Johnson said, I finally realized when I lived alone and noticed I had about $100 a month to spend on myself.
That will do it.
That will do it.
Yeah, that will wake you up.
People who live in roommate situations, like I have a roommate situation also. I can buy this rental property, and my friend bought this house, and I realized like man, I'm going out to eat a ton. Dre, no, I'd be like, let's go happy hour. Let's go happy hour. I'm going on another date. And I was like, wait a minute. I came here for 6 months to buy a house. What am I doing here? And so it does creep up on you, even for people like me and Andre, who, you know, own our own business. Like, we have more flex time a little bit.
Especially single people. I don't know if you're still single. Don't want to, you know, say you are if you're not or whatever. That's but it's single people because you want things to do. Because we work all the time, and it's like we want to have some kind of outlet. And I actually think it's healthy to have an outlet, but it's just how much of that outlet are we going to have at this exact time? We might need to do some Groupon stuff. You might need to do some backyard stuff. You know, you might need to have a guy you're dating bring some turkey meat and throw in the grill and hang out in the backyard to save some money. But what we have to do is just challenge our thoughts. When you challenge your thoughts and you say, okay, if I go here, here's what I'm going to get. Here's where it might get me. Great friend, great guy. He has no discipline. Him and his girl fight over money all the time. He gets his commissions. He spends it fast. He's in Marshalls, TJ Maxx buying stuff he doesn't really need, but that's him. So I sent him videos. I gave him some encouragement. I talked to him. His thing is immediacy. My thing is some immediacy, more delayed stuff. Who are you? Where are you with your trajectory and your spending habits and your accountability?
It's tough with people in sales. Like, even when I was in, I'm a realtor, you guys, but I'm currently just focusing on my business. It's hard when you're in sales because people think, well, I just get one more sale and it's a whole different life, right? Dre, you've been there. Like, if I just get 2-3 more sales, hey, I'm in the good, you know, I'm in the black. And I think when you work in sales, it's hard.
You're rolling, but here's the thing about sales is you don't know when the next thing is going to happen. You don't know when the next sale is going to take place. And with saving, I think, Erica, it's 80 to 85% of the time people say they can't save or they don't have any money consistently. It's a lack of discipline thing. 80 to 85, very few people, if you really write down what you make and what you spend, can have some kind of savings. Erica, look, hey.
Yeah, get it.
Back to the old school. Take it back to the old school. Where's your change at? Where's your dollars? Are you putting them in a bottle? If you are one of the people to say, I can't save money, are you currently doing this? When's the last time you tried this? And I want a date. When's the last time you tried this?
There was an older man in that same exact kind of jar bucket you have right there. He had a house full of them. The insurance company said it is a fire hazard and a hazard to someone coming and breaking in his house, and made him turn his jars in.
Wow.
He had like 20 of them though. So they finally, like, a community, like, got a truck and took him to a bank, like security, walked him to the bank. And I mean, he's old. He's like 85. I mean, he's an old black man. And poured them in, you know, because, you know, now banks have those. You know, they realize Coinstar was making so much money that banks are like, no, come to the bank. We have a coin machine. Put it in your account.
Interesting. See?
Okay, so I'm sorry. We got a few comments. I'm gonna read them. I'm sorry. My bad. JR Devar. My credit score is currently 650, which I'm still working on. How much should I save up for a $329,000 sixplex? Well, JR, 650 is a really great credit score, even for an investor, because honestly, you just need a minimum of 580 for FHA, I think. Is it FHA, Trey? Or is it 620?
It's FHA, but for 6 units, I wonder. His credit score isn't the issue. I just wonder about the down payment because it's a commercial loan, so the down payment may vary. So I would talk to our friend Kareem and see what he needs as a minimum down payment, and you focus on the minimum. As soon as you have the minimum, you pull the trigger. And there are people.
Because I think 20%. I see it on my phone. 20% looks like 65,000.
Yeah, and I know that sometimes it could be 10. And there are ways to do it. So I would contact the loan officer. We have one. His name is Kareem Baldwin. We can give you the info. And I would see the minimum. He says you need to qualify for that property. And you go with the minimum. You don't focus on the maximum. You focus on the minimum, and you get that sixplex. And you tell us when you get it so we can have a party.
Oh, okay, so here's another one. Shima E. I'm ready to buy my first investment property, but my fear is draining my personal savings to rehab it.
Screw it. Well, not screw it. That's going too far. Okay, but how much do you have in savings? Well, let's get how much do you have in savings? And they are rehab loans. There's the FHA 203K loan. There are some Sony May programs. There are programs that help you with the rehab where it will come out of your savings. How much rehab does it need? Do you need a home that you do you need a home that needs rehab? Do you need to buy a home that needs to be rehab, or can you buy a home that's moving ready or that needs less work? So
property. So
give us some feedback.
You guys know me on the channel. I tell people turnkey properties are key. I also tell you if you're gonna get a property where you're gonna need to do some like cleaning it up, rehabbing, I say go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's. There are ways to get a credit card, but there's also just charge credit you can get from Home Depot and Lowe's if you have your business EIN number and LLC. So, I mean, there's multiple ways to go about that. I always tell people, like, don't be afraid to go to Sherwin-Williams. I have an account with Sherwin's for my painting company. I have an account with Home Depot for my painting company. I just told Dre, I told you guys on the channel, this week our company's doing $7,000, but I have to pay employees. So, and I have to make sure people pay for the houses that we're painting. So it's going to be a tight week until next week, right? Like I have to make sure my guys are covered, you know? So when people buy rentals, you gotta think about that. Yeah, think of it. Shima E said she has 17,000.
Okay, $70,000. I'm assuming total. Where's the property at? And have you looked into the FHA 203K loans yet? Have you heard of them before? Because there are ways to get these things done. But most people, when they buy a house, they're broke anyway. I don't want you to buy a house and you can't rehab it because you don't have enough money, because that sucks. But there are ways to get this thing done. It's just what makes the most sense for you at this current time in your life.
Okay, so we have another one. Lulu said, hi, Erica. I love all your advice. Thank you, Lulu. My credit score is near 700. I've been looking into investing in multifamily properties. Yeah. How much of a down payment should I have for a property near 330,000?
You need the minimum.
A minimum says 66,000. Sounds like some of y'all guys are further north. I don't know, possibly. I know. Let me know where some of y'all are at, because some of y'all are usually in Maryland and DC. I've been getting a lot of Maryland and DC folks lately. I would say talk with our friend Kareem, and also you guys got to just start setting it up with your bank accounts where you get business lines of credit. That's part of what I offer. But you know, even so, you guys have to find ways for your bank, even personal loans. Some of you guys are in a great position to have personal loans. Dre, I was talking earlier before you came on, and it's about, remember the book I held up, The Millionaire by 30?
Yeah.
And it was talking about how in the book, there's some people who will never make a lot of money. There'll be teachers and certain people who just won't make a lot of money in the future. But every 2 or 3 years in the book, one of his sons, who is a lower income job person, and put that money into a down payment of a property.
Yeah.
Then that's how a lot of people do it. People don't realize, if you see some of these teacher banks, the educator banks, they have investment loans and second home loans.
All kinds of teachers. Teacher Next Door program. I did a class at the Black Real Estate School about grant options for nurses, teachers, all kinds of options out there. So what you're referring to is people who don't make a high salary at their place of employment, but they take the excess cash and they buy safe, semi-safe, mostly safe, consistent growing assets. And that's how most people become millionaires, by being a teacher, working at UPS. There are just so many things. There are so many ways to freak it. You can still keep the job, and if you like it, knock it out. But what are you doing on your off time? How are you investing your money on your off time? One property every 2 to 3 years. You can start at 25, 35. Damn, you could be crushing it. Go.
Yeah, I told him in the earlier segment before you came on that I know some people that live in Round Rock, Texas, which is a suburb of Austin, and that's what they did. They're both teachers. Every 2 or 3 years, they refinance, but now they can't even, I think they're refinancing. They can't even afford to buy a property in Austin, so they're going to buy it in another area. But they have 6 properties. You have a whole different conversation when you're 2 teachers and you have 6 properties that are all duplexes.
Wow.
I've never seen them complain about going on vacation. I've never seen them complain about putting their son in afternoon activities. I've just never seen them complain financially. Like, it's just like, you know, things cost. So you have to adjust.
You got to adjust. You got to adjust. And be honest about what it takes to get, what it will take for you to give up. We're all going to have to give up something to get where we got to get. We're all going to have to give up something to get where we got to get. If you're under the realization, if you're under the mindset that you don't have to give anything up, maybe you have a husband or a wife who holds you down and, hey, knock it out, but they can leave. So most of us are going to have to give something up to get there. What's it going to be for you?
Yeah, I think that's very important. So instead of people feeling left behind or angry, like, it's okay to feel angry about politics. It's okay to feel angry about different things, but you have to actually have a plan for that anger. You just can't be like, I'm angry and it ain't fair. Well, sorry, life is not fair and we have to have a plan. So Lulu says she's in New Mexico. All right, Lulu, get that West Coast investment. Keith Reynolds. Hey, Dre and Erica. Hey, Keith, how you doing? Keith is our California man. So we've got people all over watching the video today. The Freedom Sunday. Yeah, family man. It's a Freedom Sunday, but it is. It's all about laddering, and that's the talk earlier, Dre, about, you know, my top 10 are business advertising. I was telling Dre, I remember when there was a little flood in our town and people kind of got tight, and there were people on Craigslist selling an acre of land for 10 grand. Like, oh, okay, wow, I need some extra cash. And so you have to be prepared for those kind of situations. Number 3 was stocks. I talked about monthly dividend stocks. I talked about Whitestone. Number 4 is bank certificates. Number 5 is real estate. Number 6 is silver, you know, silver piece here and there. And number 7 was gold. Number 8 was guns. And number 9 was maximum funded insurance. I'm going to have to get Yolanda on at some point here, Dre, because she's an insurance woman. And number 10 was open to opportunities. Like when me and Dre have passive income classes and courses and books, those are things I call open to opportunity. Yeah,
I use CreateSpace to sell my books, CreateSpace, and I got an email today, and I made $46 over the past 5 days selling books that I did not have to even mail out myself. So $40-something selling books that I did not have to mail out, and I only had to write the book once to earn profit from. I only have to write the book once. That's it. One time. You can do these things one time and let it sit there and eat off of it forever.
Oh my God. And there's so many people who have talent and skills. I remember talking with one lady, and she worked for the federal government, and she knew all these things that you could do, Dre, to help federal government employees like get the most out of their benefits. And I said, honey, you could write that in the book.
Yep. Yeah.
Look at market. She lived in the DC area, and you got DC, Virginia, Maryland, all those areas where people are living, working government jobs, and don't know these things could apply to them. So there's opportunities everywhere for a lot of people who are watching this channel.
We got to stop thinking and we got to start acting. I had a conversation with a guy. He asked me to be his accountability partner. I was like, okay, cool. Here's what you got to do. You got to get a logo and you got to get a landing page. He's like, high IQ. Sometimes people actually the highest IQs are the hardest ones because they're just so used to things being so hard. I was like, okay, you have the business, you have the personality. People aren't going to take you seriously if you don't have a website. This one thing, having one basic, decent landing page will just put you in a whole different level of credibility. You've been telling me for the past year that you have somebody working on your website. You don't. You're lying to yourself. Now, well, my chair doesn't fall. Now, landing page, you can get an account with CreateSpace for like $40-something. I'm an affiliate. Go to andreslist.com, and you could pay somebody $40, $50 tops to edit it, hook it up for you. You're instantly in a different level of credibility once you do that, and he won't do it. I was gonna sit with him on the phone or the computer and just be his accountability partner and just literally sit here while he does it. He didn't do it. Are you gonna take action or not? I don't know. Tell me.
Yeah, that's very important. I told you, Andre, there were several people I was in a hangout with, and everybody on that hangout was talented. They were a couple were sociologists or something like that, where they were counselors, like Dr. Tanka. I'm killing her name. I apologize. Killing it. I had wanted to start a YouTube channel 3 years ago, and start writing books and sell stuff. And Andre, none of them had done it. They just now are talking about, like, I really need to get serious. And I'm like, have you seen what's happened to me in the course of 3 years? Like, you have all these credentials and you could, a website, an ebook, a book, and get started. I mean, so a lot of it is taking action. That's why I named off those 10 things, because sometimes people ask me, what do you do? What do you do? It doesn't matter what I do. What works best for you? Bingo. What can we get you started with today?
Bingo.
I recommend the Dish app and the Acorn app just as a place to start. Like, knowing where your money goes. Dre told y'all, he writes it down, right? We write it down.
Yeah, because if I don't track it, it's gone. If I don't track it, it's gone. And once it's tracked, you see where it's going. What are you going to do? Who needs to start? Who here knows they have the skills, but they're in their head, they're thinking too much, whatever it is, they just aren't starting. Is that you? Who is that? I want to hear from you. What's your name?
Anybody who Dre's saying, what will it take for you today to get started? Let us know. It's a Sunday fun day. Don't be afraid. It's a little 30-second delay. So me and Dre, we're just enjoying our time here. But Dre, I tell you, it's picking one thing and just going for it. It's picking one thing and going for it. One thing at a time. The power of your subconscious mind. Keith Reynolds said the overthinking is the issue.
For most people like Keith, who's really smart, it is. Just pull the trigger. Everybody here can write an ebook. Keith is married, right, Keith? You're married.
Very smart.
Have a daughter or a son, I'm sorry. So you can write a book, 5 steps to having an ebook, 5 steps to having a successful marriage. You can write the book, post it on Amazon, charge $6.99, and just to get the buzz going. Right?
And he's an action taker. So Keith's an action taker. Keith has got a tax lien certificate out of South Carolina. He's in California.
Yeah.
Taking action. He said yes with the sun. Keith, is in the process of getting ready to buy a multifamily or just single family turnkey property. So he's taking action. You guys, you have to just kind of turn the mindset and take the action. So he's, we're working with that. Shima E said fear.
Fear of
there's 3
of success or fear of failure. Which one is it? Is it fear of it actually working, or the fear of you messing up?
That's a good one. Is it fear of success or fear of failure? Fear of people laughing at you. Boy, I tell you, Dre, I have a lot of people go, if my family find out and I don't get this loan, or who knows but you. You don't got to tell them.
No, Erica. So this week, I filmed to be featured in one of the top Black documentaries over the past couple of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big deal, like really big deal. David Banner's going to be in it. Les Brown, one of the billionaire Roberts brothers, Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is a pretty good. This was like huge. There are people in my family and friends who I did not tell before I went to film for the movie. Why? Because I don't need the negative energy. They aren't going to get it, which is fine. Some people don't get it, like how big a deal certain things are for us. Then, you sure? I just didn't. Once I stopped telling chronically, hear me out, guys. Once I stopped telling chronically negative people my positive moves, my life improves. Some people are addicted. There's a book on this, addicted to negativity, and they can't even see past it. So I was like, why am I doing this? And it's getting me sad, and I'm getting frustrated. I just stopped telling them. I tell positive people this stuff now.
Oh my God, I have one aunt who's a chronic complainer, and she doesn't even see it. And now my cousin, he's a chronic complainer. And he's a man, and I'm like, you're a man, shut that mess up. Like, you sound like a lady, you sound like a woman whining all the time. But some people are addicted to the chaotic lifestyle. They'll make choices that are completely 180% against them.
Yeah.
They created that.
It's a sad cycle, and you suggest books for them, you suggest therapy for them, and few people take action. But You don't owe them your peace of mind. You don't owe them your positivity. You don't owe them this stuff, right? So
For sure.
some people just can't tell stuff, and it hurts because we want their approval. But shoot, man, Erica and I approve you. So does Keith.
You said it's both, Dre. It's both, and that's tough because I think the three is fear of losing, fear of success, fear of you did all this work and the change isn't dramatic, right? Like Gary Vee was talking about how he worked out for 18 months every single day, right? He had a personal trainer and everything. The dude picked his food and everything. And then he looks better. He looks like he lost 40 pounds. Like he looks a lot better. And he was saying, well, if you told me this is what I was going to look like at 18 months, I thought I was going to be ripped and looking jacked and looking all, he's like, but are me? Yeah, Andre showing everybody the guns. he was like kind of disappointed. And so that's some people's mindset, Dre. It's like they think it's going to be this 180-degree turn in their life, and when it's not, they're upset.
Yeah, well, also a lot of people, Erica, they're scared of advancing because they're going to leave their old people behind, and they're scared that their people are friends, white, or being stuck up, or they forgot about them. So fear of success is a real thing, but here's what you can do. What's the name?
Which one? I've got Sheena E.
Yeah, Sheena E. What you got to do sometimes is you got to hire somebody. You got kind of like a coach / consultant / accountability partner, and you and them work it out together. You're not alone here. Erica is a great person to talk to because Erica has great perspective. You can sit down with Erica via Skype, phone, or whatever once a week, once every 2 weeks, just to keep your head in the game. A lot of people need to just make a small, minimal, consistent investment, and their whole life changes because you have somebody who you can dump your stuff onto, help you figure it out, and who will help you keep your track. If you have a 10, 20, 30, $100,000, $100 million idea, why not spend a couple $100 a month to help you execute it? I do.
I pay someone to communicate with too. So I mean, that's why when people say, "Oh, people pay you for coaching," I'm like, and I pay for coaching because in order to go to the next level and be able to help other people,
I pay for workshops. I pay for coaching. I pay for seminars. I pay for books. I pay to improve. I intern. I pay to improve because I'm not just going to improve just on my own. I'm not that good. I'm not.
Oh, there's the thing. Your thinking got you to this level. So now you need somebody to help you get your thinking to go to the next level, right? Because there's a thing called unhappy, aimless lives, right? In our lives as people, we feel happier and better when we're aiming to towards something. Whether you ever hear parents who like, I can't wait till they get these kids out the house. When they 18, they happy, right? And then the kids get out the house and now they're like, I can't wait till I'm retired. Like people are happier when they're aiming towards something. So whatever that thing is in your life, you need to be aiming towards it vigorously. There's a few more on here. Keith Reynolds said, there are so many people who thrive on complaining. Hey, you see it all over Facebook. They love telling you about problems, but they don't have a solution. Keith Reynolds, they also thrive on looking for an easy way out. That's the whole point of this video today. There is no easy way out. The coasting of America is over. All the Donald Trump people, all the people who are in the Black America crime, like that's over.
I think that's probably
like our we all realize it's not going to be easy anymore.
That's probably our biggest pet peeve, right, Erica? Our shortcut rude people, which go hand in hand sometimes. Our short people who take or who are addicted to shortcuts and are rude while doing it.
Oh, Dre, I had some. I need you to answer me ASAP about stocks, and I was like, "You're in my Facebook inbox. Like, I didn't even see this for that. Like, I don't even know who you are.
Probably
who are you?
Probably not even a hello. No.
Not even a hello. Not even a hello, Dre. I need you to tell me ASAP. I was like, who is this?
If you mentally prepare yourself that whatever you're going to be doing is going to take more out of you, more from you, it's just going to, and you're going to need to extract more out of yourself, you got to give up some. So my thing that I had to give up over the past 3 years was happy hours. It was after 6 or 7 o'clock, after working on the Nordic business or real estate or whatever I was doing. going to the bar, talking to the queen, and getting a drink and watching the game sometimes, right? Cool, right? Socializing, New York City, cool. Nothing wrong with that. But that was my advancement money. That $60, $80, $100, 2, 3, 4 times a week. That was my money that I wasn't spending on my business to advance. That was my headshots. That was my upgraded logo. That was my websites. That was my editor money. So what I had to cut that out for me. What is your thing that you have to cut out for yourself? I got an office recently, about 4 months ago, to help my productivity. The office costs. I got a membership to a really nice gym. That costs. But those things, for me, they bring about a higher return on value, a higher ROI. And me spending that money on that stuff, it helps me be in cooler environments, so I don't have to go out as much. And I can have my friends come with me to the gym and to my office. So investments, investing in your damn self.
Oh yeah. There's a saying that says, I had this book on Audible and I listened to it again, and it's like you keep finding jewels every time you listen to something. And it was saying that the secret of happiness is freedom. Yeah. The secret of freedom is courage. Ooh. Courage is the pursuit of a worthy goal.
That's deep.
So that's a little long, so I'm gonna read it again. The secret of happiness is freedom. And the secret of freedom is courage. Courage is the pursuit of a worthy goal.
Bingo.
There you go. Just a few things that we're gonna kind of wrap it up here because it's Sunday, and I'm gonna go to a dinner with my family. So I got my dress on, I got my hair done, I got my lipstick on. Dre, you gotta stop right in North Carolina. So here in Johnson put. I just recently self-taught myself how to fix credit and was successful at it. Now I wrote down all the steps I did and not sure where to start with writing these into a book form. Keith Reynolds also said, where is he at? How should the book be? So I am finishing a course. I asked you guys to give me a little grace, recovery mode, but I am finishing a course about living as an author, living as a writer, and the steps you take. And how-to books are really great. Like, I might bring Dre in for a video while I'm in the course, but I'm finishing it up probably tonight and tomorrow. But essentially, it's literally 1, 2, 3. It's literally like an outline. And these books don't have to be huge. Oh. They don't have to be 400-page books. They can be 30-page books, 40-page books. It just has to help people. Yep. People have to know that they can go to. Look at this, Dre, holding it up, own or be owned. I have a book. It's at my other house, Dre. Oh, I can't hold it up.
See, books. I got
passive income. Look, Dre, this guy and his 2 sons wrote this, Millionaire by 30. This book is, I can't remember how many years old, maybe 7 years old. They're still making money off this book.
My book is 33 pages, by the way. My book is 33 pages. I just made $46 over the past few days off of the book. And I did not even have to mail it out. If I would have mailed it out myself, it would have been more. But for me, the whole post office thing is just not worth it for me time-wise anymore.
Oh, yeah. Time-wise is not. You don't have enough. I mean, when you're traveling the world like Andre, when you're in Antigua, when you're in Atlanta and hot Atlanta, flying back and forth.
I do that. Yes.
So, look, you guys, we're going to wrap it up for this Sunday. Thank you, Andre, for joining us. Again, this whole topic was Trump supporters, rather have a dead country than a working one, because people are feeling lost. Mm-hmm. They're feeling their country has moved away from them, but it is time for you to take action and take ownership of your life. You are in control of how your finances look and how your retirement looks. It's no one else's fault but your own. Okay. Got to take action. Got to take ownership. Be on the lookout next week for Living as a Writer course. I'll try to see if I can snag Dre for one night. Maybe we'll do a live Q&A.
Do some pre-sales. Let's do some pre-orders tonight. Hey guys, tell Erica if she puts up the enrollment at a discounted price, you will enroll within the next 4 hours. Tell her that.
You guys, I'll try to have something put up. I'll put it up on Facebook. I'll put it up on both my personal page and my business page. The course, I will try to wrap it up, and I'll try to do a live Q&A on maybe Wednesday, Thursday. I have to see how Dre's schedule is. I'm just trying to have people who are authors.
I'm down. I'm an author.
Come on. So, all right, you guys, happy Sunday to you. You guys, this was Andre C. Hatchett, Mr. Andre C. Notaries, Mr. Andre the Black Real Estate School, you name it, he's got it. Go check him out, andresbooks.com, or is it andreslist.com?
andresbooks.com for the book, andreslist.com for my affiliates, and andrechhatchett.com for everything. That's the home base.
All right, he's got coaching, he's got it up there. Look, you guys, this is Erica Williams from the Classy Climb blog. This is a rare Freedom Sunday. Thank you guys for joining. It went a little long, but I enjoyed all your guys' questions. Definitely check out the courses next week. The links are always below. You guys have a great week.
All right, guys. Peace.